actually added anything to the quality of my work, and it's contributed to a lack of perspective, which just leads to creative dead ends and a lot of wasted time. So years ago, I started taking lots of teeny breaks throughout the day, and I found that by just stepping away for a few minutes or walking out of the room or going outside, not long enough to get out of the vibe, but just long enough to reset my ears, would make everything clearer when I hit the space bar again. And now that I think about it, maybe I've been trying to recreate the time that we would need to rewind and change reels. I mean, it doesn't matter how fast or efficient you are with your work, and if you lose perspective why we're doing this, I mean, it is art. It won't matter. The process does have a huge effect on the outcome of your work. So what is the real reason why analog is better? Well, obviously, it's not about the sound for me, because I'm going to find a good way to get the sound. It's really about the workflow and commitment to a quality performance. It's also about having that creative space, just a little extra time to think, which is huge. But it's also about the machines and the infrastructure. Analog is a reliable instrument.
All right, that was a brother. That was his name is Belly. A career, I guess, musician and producer, and obviously he's an engineer, and he has a lot of equipment that he done purchased over the years, and uh, you know he was just basically breaking down what done changed, what hasn't changed, and how you could go back to a reel to reel and still get quality sound from when you record it. I remember in my first marriage, my father-in-law, he still had his reel to reel because he was a DJ, and he said that he recorded all his music on his reel to reel because you know eventually if you DJ long enough, you get tired of standing there flipping the records and changing the records. And, he was like, well, I got innovative. I recorded my mixing and I could put it on the reel to reel and just let the music play, for a good 30, 45 minutes. And I can get up and dance and party and I can, you know, uh, go get something to eat, and go chill and enjoy the party myself instead of just focusing on changing and flipping records, and this is before what we are now. We talking like literally 20 years ago, just that far back, so yeah. So I thought this would be a cool video to make about technology and AI, so yeah.
Driving in a faraway place, a summer breeze blowing right in your face. But the moon is all setting sun, in the hopes that the morning won't come. So I say, yes, is the place of your love. It's the sea. Must be the place for your love. This is the place. This is the place. Close your eyes and wish upon one. It's a quiet and a deserted place. Excellent vanilla for lovers' kiss. And I wanna think on you. This is the place for your love. And ecstasy. Must be a place for your love. Sticky and it starts to degrade. But if you bake it, there's a process called baking, and I actually made a video about that. It'll and do it again. Ooh, I like that one. Give me one more, and again. Here we go. And do it again. But when you were working on analog tape, rewinding back to the beginning of a verse took a little bit longer. And if you were going back to the beginning of the song, there was enough time to catch your breath, get a drink of water, collect your thoughts. And if you needed to jump to another song, you'd have to wind the whole reel off the machine, clean the heads, which you needed to do in between every reel, and then load a whole other reel on. All this took some time. Today, we don't stop. But this nonstop workflow hasn't actually added anything to the quality of my work, and it's contributed to a lack of perspective, which just leads to creative dead ends and a lot of wasted time. So years ago, I started taking lots of teeny breaks throughout the day, and I found that by just stepping away for a few minutes or walking out of the room or going outside, not long enough to get out of the vibe, but just long enough to reset my ears, would make everything clearer when I hit the space bar again. And now that I think about it, maybe I've been trying to recreate the time that we would need to rewind and change reels. I mean, it doesn't matter how fast or efficient you are with your work. And, you know, if you lose perspective why we're doing this, I mean, it is art. It won't matter. The process does have a huge effect on the outcome of your work. So what is the real reason why analog is better? Well, obviously, it's not about the sound for me, because I'm going to find a good way to get the sound. It's really about the workflow and the commitment to a quality performance. It's also about having that creative space, just a little extra time to think, which is huge. But it's also about the machines and the infrastructure. Analog is a reliable and strong system. They still work. You don't have to keep replacing parts over and over again. But if you think about your computers and your operating systems and the software, how much money have you put into that? How many times does it have to be redone? And how many times does it go bad? It's just actually not that reliable. And I feel like we're building a house of cards, and not just for the music industry, but our whole society. I'm not sure we're necessarily headed down the right path in so many ways. But me, I'm just going to keep creating my music, and I hope you will too. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe and be unique.
That was cool. Great tips, great tips. That Den of Thieves movie, part two, come out Friday. That's a definitely must go see. All right, we're gonna bring it back to DC for a minute. You know what I'm saying? You can't never get enough of Rafer Edmond. You know what I'm saying? You know, he the one that did it the biggest here in DC. You know, you know, yeah, Rafer Edmond was in the 80s. I never knew who he really was because it was so many people claiming to be Rafer Edmond, and it was crazy. You know, I used to go to Spingarn back in 1988, and but I was from Southeast, the side where the Navy Yard was at, and the Marine Barracks, and Arthur Capel was my hood, and you know, but I hung up Potomac Gardens, Kentucky Court, 1000, 1430L, all in that area, which we called the Capitol Hill area, but the hood Capitol Hill, not the where the houses and the nice, you know, yards and fences and all that. So basically, uh, you know, the high school, the junior high school was Hine Junior High. Is actually where the farmers market is located. It's, I think that's a government building now or some kind of structure, but that used to be a junior high school right there, and that was like my junior high that I was supposed to go to, but uh, my father had this thing about sending your boys out to explore and you know keeping your girls close so you can easily assess them if they are in need, right? So, but the real reason that's the you know the the temperament that he gave us, you know, when he just uprooted us out of school and sent us to another school. Um, but uh, but I later learned that he told me that I wanted you to explore variety. He said the same guys that you went to school with in the neighborhood, you know, you with them guys all day at school and then right back at home. Right when you come home, you around them all day. So you don't have no room for growth. And of course, I'm mad. You know, I'm like, how you just gonna take us from our friends? Because me and my sister had to uproot from elementary school, and we wind up at two other schools. One, we went from Van Ness to Lennox, and Lennox to Gideon's. And Lennox closed. That's how we got to go to Gideon's. And so I graduated elementary, me and my sister from Gideon's. And this was up. near my grandmother neighborhood, which was divided by a bridge. You know, you had the Navy outside, which where Arthur Caper was on, and then you had the Marine Barracks side. And that side of the bridge was called Allen Wilson, which we call 7th Street. So I'm literally between two different hoods. So, Rayford was from uptown, and that was his area. So that's why I never knew who he really was until they locked him up. And I see him on TV because at Spingarn, and Easton was my home school that I was supposed to go to, but you know, my cousin went to Spingarn, and that was somebody that I was close with, and I was like real undecided. So when you're undecided about anything, you tend to lean on what you know or what you're familiar with. So instead of going to Easton, I transferred to Spingarn to go there with my cousin on the strength that I knew somebody there. So that was like, okay. Not only that, I knew everybody going to Spingarn because that was my neighborhood school. But again, when you undecided, you tend to lean on what you know. So I stuck to the same formula that my father put in place, which was, let's go explore, you know. So I went on to Spingarn instead of the neighborhood school because I would know everybody there. But if you went to Spingarn, you want to open the door of new faces and new relationships. And that's exactly what happened. So not only that, let's just say this. I'm from 7th Street. No, I'm from Arthur Caper. I hung up on 7th Street where my grandmother lived, where we eventually moved to. And I forgot I lived on the southeast side of Parkland. Went to Malcolm X Elementary. So I grew up on that side of DC. And the Good Hope Road, Stanton Road, Parkland area. And then I think by 5 we moved to the Arthur Caper side, which was the Navy Yard side of Southeast. So me going to Spingarn, it got me to meet the uptown guys at Langston Terrace, McKinley Tech, and them guys that went to them schools over there, and because that's where I eventually started hanging out with them guys. And then they closed my hood in 88 or 87. And then we moved over to the northeast side, no, the northeast side, East Capitol. And we moved to the hood, Clay Terrace, which Lincoln Heights was right across from it, Division Avenue, Minnesota Avenue, that whole area. So everywhere done just mentioned, this is where I'm hanging at. These are my stomping grounds. And then when I moved from home, I moved uptown to Kennedy Street, 5th and Kennedy. Me and my two homeboys from Philly, we all moved out at the same time. And we had us a house we was leasing, renting. And so now uh, I'm really in the mix of, exploring new territory. And even before I moved from 7th Street, my boy Al Ski, big boy, he big Al to me right now. We used to call him Al Ski. And that was his rap name. We all had rap names back in the day. My boy, yours truly name was MC Money. And and it's funny, my nephew rap name is Money Man Biggs. Y'all go to his YouTube, check him out. And then my niece called herself Money Mia, so I done started something. And but anyway, my man Big Al was from Park Road, so we used to go up there and hang out. So that's how I got to hanging out at the Black Hole. And the Black Hole done had like 50, 11 different names, Celebrity Hall, uh, just them the two that I really recall. Black Hole and Celebrity Hall. And anything after that, I don't remember. But so yeah, I think also what made Ray for hot, it was the fact that it was a lot of people claiming his name. So I know the feds and the intelligence in the street was like, who is this dude Rafer? So that's probably one of the reasons why his name got on the radar. You know, just some history for you.